Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first Peach Cup, hosted by our resident Max C enthusiast and OCG player,
Yeah.
Ray the Thumb.
Yes, not an apologist, by the way. I'm just gonna put that out there.
We're also
Not a
joined
Max.
by our resident tall, sexy person, Luca. How's it going?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Our 6'3"
I'm literally not
African American
6'3".
man.
And then, of course,
Damn
we
it.
have myself, the immortal, the man who lives forever, but I don't want to live. Anyways, today we are doing our initial impressions of the top 8 deck lists for the Peach Cup. So we're going to go through them all and give our initial impressions and talk about what we might do. So up first, we have Starry Night. This is a pretty cool deck.
Very cool deck.
Yeah, this deck I know is really famous for not Time Wizard, was it? Rivalry of Warlords
Oh,
tournaments.
was it? I didn't even know. I
Yeah.
didn't know about that.
Yeah,
It's like pretty decent rivalry.
yeah,
Gotcha.
because Starry Night, Starry Dragon is basically just compulse every single turn, which is it's a pretty cool card. It's a pretty cool
Yeah,
card.
it's very cool.
So I guess initial impression on this deck list. I mean, the only thing that I really had to say about this deck list, other than maybe the barrier statue, which I don't know if it's searchable, I don't think it is just the fact that they're playing one apiece of each of the forbidden cards.
All right, so I will say,
Condemned
I will say that Condemned Witch searches all of them.
It does.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should also mention here that these lovely ladies who were very, very, what's the word? New to the game, sure. They
And the
actually
build
built all
themselves.
these decks themselves. They were not allowed any help, or at least minimal help, hopefully.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some things that might not be optimal, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't thought behind it. And I can understand that, like, you know, sometimes you don't need a chalice or a droplet. Sometimes you want lance, or sometimes you want scripture. But yeah, it's just a bit curious to me that we are playing one a piece of each, and we're siding
The two
double
other-
chalice, double droplet, and double lance.
Double lance. Yeah. So I actually didn't really understand scripture when I first looked at this list. I didn't know what it did. But after like some thought, I was like, you know, maybe this could be a thing.
What is scripture again?
It's the one that changes them to a like original attack. It makes them go unga bunga, I'm a vanilla.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I could see that if you're going up against something like what I don't want to say trains, but just something that boosts their attack. Like if you go up against Gren Manju, this could be a pretty useful card. But no, pretty solid choices. Pot of Extravagance, Ties of the Brethren. I also see we're running the Utopia double package, so if you do stick a rank 4, you do just win the game. Which is a pretty solid game plan, not gonna lie. In a deck that can make rank 4s pretty easily, just saying, oh, if I stick a rank 4, I win the game, is pretty good.
I also do like the fact that Utopia double and Utopia are light to play with the barrier statue
That's
too.
really
That was
funny.
really
I didn't
smart.
even think about that.
Yeah. So yeah, that is a
Yeah, pretty solid deck list overall. I would. Do we want to give ratings? I think I'd give this a solid 7 out of 10. I think.
I would say 7 out of 10.
I think there's room for improvement, but I think there's nothing wrong with this.
I think the main thing we're gonna see throughout this is like room for improvement will be in hand traps, and that's what we'll get into near the end.
I was gonna say,
matches.
I'd give this like a 6. Like this deck just like feels like one of the decks where it's like if it goes first and can just kind of like set itself up, it could probably like do decent. But like if you just like get paired into like some weird combo deck, then you probably just like die. Like,
Yeah.
like you need like exactly droplets to like really be able to like pressure it back.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's go ahead and get on to our second deck list, which, speaking of a combo fest, this is just Goki. This is
Oh,
just
dear
Goki.
Lord.
This is
Straight
just
Goki.
Goki.
Yeah.
Oh
So if anyone
my
stayed common charity, funny enough. And this is one of the I will praise the person who made this deck did play their hand traps. You know, learning
Yeah,
that
they have
are
Ashen
good.
Veiler. That's
They do
already
have
putting
Ashen
them
Veiler. I will
pretty high
say,
above.
a bit. I will. My one thing I will say about this for now is imperm over Veiler, please.
Yeah.
This looks like a dueling stack.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Kind of. I mean, I don't really understand cage match and face turn. I know finishing
Yeah.
move is played. I know rematch is played. But
Yeah.
this deck basically just has the advantage of if you stick a power load ogre, you just win the game.
Win the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there
I
is-
don't think. Yeah. There's just no real out to this. Like Power Load Ogre, if for those of you who've never played Common Charity, is just a towers with 4K attack power in through the combo.
It's just
So-
really big. The only problem is you have to know the combo, you have to get to the combo, and you have to, if you are interrupted, know how to play around it. So we'll definitely see how our players deal with that. So I mean, this is just Goki. So I honestly
it's
I
just
give it an
straight
8.
Goki. So yeah, I'll give this a 9 actually. You know, it brings back some memories because I love Common Charity. I'll give it a 9.
I'm giving it an 8, just because I think this is an uninspired deck list. I think this is pretty standard for Goki.
That's fair.
So
I'll give this a. Honestly, you guys are higher than me. I was gonna give it like another 6. Tech just feels very like kind of feels like way too pigeonholed on because like the Goki cards themselves are just very good at letting you do a lot for very little. This deck just kind of feels like a little too pigeonholed on like the power load ogre thing.
yeah, that's fair.
Whereas like there's just like there is just like this feels like a deck where it's like someone said I want to build Goki, so they just like threw all the Goki cards like a bunch of Goki cards together into like a deck. But then like if you were to give them like if you were to like give them like another half an hour to just kind of like look at like other link monsters and other just generic warrior support, they could probably come up with something like better.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I will say, props to this person for trying to go for a combo, because you'll see later on, not a lot of people, like, you know, with how new they aren't going for combos.
Yeah,
So
I will say I
give-
appreciate that this person is playing both Cyclone and Twister. maybe
Really
maybe
afraid
they're
of that
really
back
trying to
row.
play around floodgates. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I think we're also missing, like, looking at the extra deck now, we're definitely missing some of the utility links. Like, we're missing
Like
Ferocious
the
Flame
Nightmares.
Swordsman. Obviously,
Yeah.
Zolde's banned, but
Yeah.
we're definitely missing a couple of the utility links.
The only utility link I see is Boral Load.
Yeah, Borreload, and then we have the Virus Swordsman into Borreload.
Well, Fire Sword can go through the main combo for the
Yeah,
like,
it
it's the
does.
main
It does. It
combo,
just gets you an
so-
insane amount of
yeah,
material.
exactly.
So, anyways, we
Yeah.
can go ahead and move on to the next deck. This is Element Sabers. So, I have the smallest amount of experience with Element Sabers, and that is I played the. Sorry, I just noticed this side deck. I played the story
Master
mode in
Duel, right?
Master Duel.
Yeah,
and I
same
hated
here.
it because I think one of these cards just doesn't let you attack. I don't know which one it was, but I struggled with it for a while.
Was it Mana?
I think it's
I was like,
Mana.
Lapula just can't be like destroyed.
Yeah. I think that might have been it.
Yeah, there's one where it's like no matter what I did, I just was not allowed to attack, and it frustrated me to no end.
Was it the water? It probably is the water one. I think the water one stops. Like, oh no, Oh wait, they mirror their counterpart, like the elemental lord effects. I think,
Interesting.
or something
No?
like that. Yeah, I have almost zero experience with this deck.
Yeah,
too, so.
this is an interesting deck, but I don't know if I would say it's very good. I will say
CED in the side, very base factor will raise my rating a little bit. I love that card.
Look, all right, I'm not look, SED and BLS in the side when you have 9 main deck lights and 2 main deck darks.
They can change it. They can change their attributes. They change their attributes in the grave.
Yeah, but isn't it only on field or is it engrave as well?
No, engrave.
That's engrave.
Okay, it is engrave. Okay, that makes more sense.
That's how the elemental lords work.
Wait, yeah, hover over the wind one real quick.
The wind one? This one?
The
Yeah, the little guy. Is this card's in the graveyard? Yeah. Yeah, I think they can change their attributes in the grave.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Another deck with Pot of Extrav. You did mention
Yeah,
that, so
yeah,
it's
I
2 or
got
3.
Yeah.
The side deck, I will say, is interesting. So
It's
apparently
kinda
they're
bad,
like,
yeah.
Side
I
deck's
guess they
not
want stuff in
great.
the graveyard because they're playing hand dust in the main, or card dust in the main deck.
Yeah.
And they're also playing Needlebug Nest in the side, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
I think the idea behind that, because from my knowledge of it, you want to have 5 of your element sabers engraved so that your elemental lords are always online.
That's fair. I think really the only like other than the side deck, which this might have just
Yeah.
been meme, but it's kind of interesting. Is
Yeah.
just the 12 3-ofs in the extra deck.
Yeah. So, this could be a problem with how they all learn to play, where like, oh, if it's your best card, just play three of it, right? This may have came with that, or it came with the pot of extravagance. So you know.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess if you're playing pot of, you might as well just play
Yeah.
everything in multiples. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
playing Extrav in branded Eldritch, and it was like, yeah, I just played 3 of all the good
Yeah.
branded fusions.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Just because I don't really know what this deck is gonna do, I'm gonna give it a 6.
I will also give it a 6, just because for the same reason. But actually, I'll give it a 7 because of the CED. Get that bonus point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Luca, what are you gonna give this deck?
Probably like a 4.
Lucas being
Lucas
I'm
the
sorry.
critic.
This deck's just. I'm sorry. This deck's just not. Just doesn't. I mean, like, they tried.
Yeah.
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 Like, there's definitely an effort here. I just don't really know how we got to this.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Deck number 4, we have Giant Ballpark.
Oh my lord.
3 of 4 for
Yeah.
Extrav.
Yes.
So I will say this deck does have some legs. People were considering this in common charity back when the deck was or the format was first announced. I think the biggest problem with this deck is missing a lot of the other good generic insect cards. So, like, we're playing Doomdozer, but we could also be playing Aztecapede, and we also could be playing Beargram, which is just
there's just a lot of like good insects missing from here.
Yeah.
I will say, this was a thing I do have to bring up because so this person, when they built this deck, didn't properly read Cocoon of Ultra Evolution and forgot that you needed an equip card. So we did offer them like, oh, you could swap it out for 3 Upstart Goblins, but they were just like, no, I have to live with my mistake. So they are just playing 3 Garnets in the deck.
Okay, so that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here that I do like seeing. Like, triple Darkhold, triple Raigeki is probably good in a format of less experienced players, and triple Skill Drain will just steal games. Like,
because you do have your 1900s and your vanillas.
Your 28s, yeah.
Yeah, your 28s. So your monsters are very big under skill drain.
Yeah, and then it is kind of unfortunate, but they're playing the new Ragnarok cards, which is kind of interesting. Again, we're just tripling up on everything.
Just tripling up on everything.
Again, we're playing Cosmic and Twin in the side. And Judgment, okay.
And Judgment. You know, gotta be afraid of those back rows.
Yeah, and then Giant Ball Game. I know this card came out recently, I just don't know what it does. During your main phase,
I
this
think
activated.
this summons Doomdozer in this case.
Special level 6 or lower insect from your graveyard. You reveal 1 insect monster in your hand. Target face-up monster your opponent controls. Add an insect monster and 1 insect monster you control with less attack. Switch control of those, and if you do, the monster you took control of becomes an insect.
That's confusing, but it's kind of cool. It's like creature swap.
Yeah, it's basically a creature swap every turn. That also recurs your level 6 or lowers, so it lets you recur things like Goki Pole and
all right, that's pretty cool. That's solid.
It's not bad.
It's okay.
In terms of a base rating, I would give this a solid 9, but in terms of like a deck standard, I think I'd give it a 6. I think this.
I agree. I think I would agree.
I think there's a lot of room to improve. I think there's just we're just missing very.
I also think
cards.
you're just playing. I also will say I think they're playing just like way too many vanillas. I think Sea Squatter and Insect Knight are good enough. You didn't need the Needle Bug Nest. The Needle Bugs.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I'd probably give it 6.
Yeah.
All right.
It seems like good.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next deck, which is Trickstars. We have our second meta deck of the tournament, and our 405 for extra.
Yeah, and see with the extra deck, the triple up on everything.
So, like, is there a reason why they're all playing like extra and not just prosperity?
That's a great question. I think they saw draw 2 versus versus get 1 hand. I was like, because like one of the main things we go over like in coaching is like card advantage. Like, you know, it's better to have 2 cards than 1. So in their mind, they might think that prosperity, like extra, is a bit better than prosperity. but at the same time they don't realize like how strong looking through 6 cards is, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like those are just two like
Yeah, very
directly
similar
like
cards.
not even. I was just gonna like those are two like very conflicting like things to teach someone where it's like
Yeah.
like
Yep.
technically drawing the extra card is like usually better, with the one exception of a card that lets you just look at like that lets you pick your best card out of like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it can be very hard
So,
for like a new player to kind of like understand like
to understand it, yeah. So like a lot of these, I think the same thing comes down with like I think the same problem comes with like explaining hand traps, which is why you don't really see like too many people on hand traps, like in a format like this, is because in hand traps inherently are -1s
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of the time, you know. So I think that's all might also be why. But this deck is playing hand traps, and I do think it's because of the droll reincarnation combo.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. Is like I think
Yeah.
for being a new player build of Trickstars, I
Yeah.
think this is pretty clean. You know,
Mhm.
they are playing Droll Reincarnation. They're
Yeah.
on triple Candina, triple Licorice.
Yeah.
3 Honest is also actually pretty
Yeah.
big for this
Yeah.
deck.
So this is the deck with the most amount of hand traps, funny enough, with 13, because Korrabane, Dark Angel, and Honest are like all battle trick hand traps. But at the same time, like this just comes down to you could know how to play like better hand traps.
Yeah, I think the only problem that I would say with this deck is, especially for a new player, like knowing the Droll Reincarnation loop thing is one thing, right? But just maintaining a proper game state and knowing your opponent lost as many life points as they should have, that can be difficult.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think a pretty clean list. This is probably going to be my first. No, I won't give this a 9. I'll give this another 8. Again, lots of room for improvement, but honestly, a pretty solid list.
I'll give it a 7 because of like this feels like the same as like when we went to like the Sayaru list, where like it's just solid effort. There could be better hand traps being played, like, but the core build is kind of there.
Yeah.
I'm like somewhere around a 6, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think
You're
like
being really harsh today.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Being
I
really
did
harsh.
say I would be nice. This is me being nice, I promise. Like I think just as far as like Trickstar decks go, this one kind of has the Goki problem where you're kind of like tunnel visioning a little too hard on like
the trick stars, or
the trick stars. It's like you're tunneling more, like you're tunneling more so on just like the fact that it's like, oh, this says Trickstar in its name / effect text, as opposed to just like building your deck around the good Trickstar cards.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure anyone played Narcissus back when it came out.
I don't think anyone did either.
No.
They did a little better.
Like Candina, Lilybell, Licorice, Corbane, it's just like a good core, and then from there, like you just take that, you just kind of work backwards. Like you don't.
Yeah, I think we could we're getting a little bit too much into like advice, but I think we could have squeezed another like 8 to 9 hand traps into this very easily.
Yeah.
So, but that's obviously a experienced player take versus a new player take. So we won't dwell on it. We'll get on to the next list, which is Duel Avatar.
All right, can I start with this one? Because this one was actually very, very base and my favorite to win. Well, not favorite to win, but like I wanted this deck to win. So the person who made this deck had one combo in mind and one combo in mind only.
This is the law of the normal one.
It is the law of the normal one. So if you read Duel Avatar Invitation, which is that second spell, right? It fills the requirements for law of the normal.
Okay.
So like that is the combo, and like basically the whole point of this deck was like you do that combo and then force them into my 1-card combo is gonna outperform you top decking.
I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good.
It is very funny.
I think that
if you go up against the Trickstar or the Goki player, you just lose the game.
But it's funny. You lose the game, but yeah, it is very funny.
I'd like to see a deck that does make use of other cards outside of the archetype, so Prisma, Fusion Deployment.
Yeah, which are all really cool.
Yeah, I think I do actually like that we're citing super poly and targets. I think that's pretty neat.
Hmm. Yeah.
Also, 5 of 6 for
Yeah,
extra.
5 of 6 for extra. Let's go.
We are actually citing some pretty solid going second cards in this list, like
Hmm.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Obviously, almost everybody's had Twin Twisters or Cosmics in their side deck,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Super Poly, Alpha, Trap Tricks, all good. I think the only thing that I would say is maybe like instead of citing 3 Trap Tricks, like citing targets for it instead.
Yeah.
But
Like I would also like I would have probably liked to see like an evenly match if you're trying to go for a blowout.
yeah, something like
You know,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gimmicky, so I'm gonna give it a
Yeah.
5. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna give it a 7 for the base factor.
Ugh,
I'm actually gonna give this. I think I'm actually gonna give this a 7 too. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm just
like,
harsh
and
on
that's
this.
because like,
Because there's more
Like-
thought behind it.
yeah, like there's actually like it's like for me this one hits that sweet spot of it. Like you have like the gimmicky stuff, like just very competently built around that.
Yeah, I
Where
guess
it's
you're
like
right.
I want to. It's like one of those things where it's like there's just like this really like funny combo I have, and then they kind of just worked backwards,
Yeah.
as opposed to
The
like some of the
others
other decks
were
we've
like-
seen where it was just kind of like a
Here's the
um,
archetype. Let me like just play it. Like let me stock
Yeah.
up on the archetype.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get, you guys are making me come around a little bit on it. I do see that there's actually like thought going into the deck
I think
building.
this had the most thought behind it. Like,
Yeah, I'll
so
give
far.
it that. I'll give it that. I'll up it to like a 6. But yeah, I think this is the most gimmicky deck we've seen so far. But that won't be the case with these next two. So
Yeah.
we've got Fairy Tale.
yeah.
Alright, so first thing. 6 of 7.
Yeah, 6 of 7.
So-
Oh yeah, 6 of.
To be fair, I feel like this is like the second like extra deck I've actually seen that said, yeah, I'd probably just play extra instead of Prosper this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Every other deck we've seen with extra, I'm just like, bro, just play Prosper.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice this, but they're playing Grand Maju in the sun.
Yeah, they are
Oh,
the
they go
good
second.
Maju at the side for when you go second,
Yeah, when
apparently.
you go second, you bozo.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I guess, so I did get explained to how this deck can go first, and it requires you drawing one of the gear freeds because so the play that they were going first was you activate Stromberg to summon the princess. Princess effect summons the carriage and equips the slippers, and you banish the slippers for Gearfried and then equip the carriage.
Okay.
So so you get the negate, which is very funny.
Yeah,
But
it's
you have to
funny.
draw one of 3. Yeah.
So it's funny, and unironically, I do think this deck might just steal games off of how powerful Gizmek, Orochi, and Eater of Millions are.
Uh-huh.
But this is probably my first sub 5 rating.
Yeah,
I think I'd probably
will
give this a 3.
4. I will give this a 4. Cause like the problem with it is Castle summons monsters that should put you in a position to OTK, but you never put enough damage to OTK.
Yeah, and it's a deck that has to be built poorly because like so many cards get banished off of Stromberg.
Yeah.
Like you have to just play 3 of everything.
Yeah.
That's why we see 3 of everything. I also
Yeah.
think it's funny that we're playing Utopia double because it's very
side,
easy that we
yeah.
can banish the double or nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I will say I really do like the part I do like here is Quiet Life, the card after Prosperity. This is the floodgate of the deck, and I think it is hilarious.
Oh yeah, this is if you do
Guys.
one, you can't do the other.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
Yes,
Guys.
sir. Uh-huh.
I think y'all are
Too
stupid. I'm giving
Yeah.
no. I'm giving this like an 8. I think this deck's nice.
This is the Quiet Life.
Hey, no. Here's why I'm giving it an 8.
Uh-huh.
Stromberg specifically is very frustratingly difficult for like a new player to like play around.
Yeah, you can't attack into it, right?
Like, this feels like one of those cards. This feels like one of those decks where it's like if you just stick like Stromberg Gearfried, a new player will just kind of look at that and be like, "Huh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this."
That is very true. That is.
And then they just like
you can't
die on the
attack.
next
You
turn.
cannot attack into Stromberg.
Yeah, like you can't attack. Like you just can't attack. Like and then like anything you would try to do to like actually like
Luke,
push, press down, like your feet
right.
would
You
just
changed
stop.
my
Like,
nine.
this feels
You
like
changed my mind.
this feels
this
like
is a 9. This is a 9.
yeah, I don't want to go that high, but
So
like it's definitely like there's definitely like some room. Like for one, I would probably just like commit and just like main deck the Grand Maju. But like other than that, just like I think like if you were to just bring this to like a normal tournament, you would just get curb bumped. But like for like this like level of play, like I can see a world where this deck just feels like
impossible to break.
Like, yeah, like this deck, like you just stick Stromberg and like a new player would just kind of look at that and be like, "Damn, what do?" Like,
yeah. The only reason I say this isn't kind of the case is like while that may happen game 1, everyone is siding like
everyone is siding
Cosmic,
on a back
or both. Yeah.
Fine.
So, I like I said, I think this deck can take games off of how powerful these two cards are, and as you mentioned, Stromberg is a pain.
Look, I think what happened was like during Swiss that actually happened, which is why so many people who mean the Cosmic and stuff got through.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
this deck was like very represented because we got 60 players, but like almost a fourth of them were on like basically this deck.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's this deck, and then the final deck, is probably the deck from the thumbnail. It's just Exodia.
It is just Exodia.
It is just Magical Library Exodia.
One.
Yeah. One light. Yeah, this is the one. You know what? I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give the 2 because you cited the Exodia Necros package. But this is the 1.
Yeah, that's I'll give that one. So I promise my 1 has nothing to do with your deck building. 1 has everything to do with what deck you're playing. Wait, map switches. Fucking map library. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, I lied. Okay, you're playing like one of my favorite cards I've released. It's like a 5 at least.
It's
like a 5.
Yeah.
Oh, Artifact.
Fury Wreath map. Have you read this card?
Oh yeah, it just adds a vanilla or a level
library.
1.
Yeah, you just search library.
That's really funny, and you have to roll it. Okay.
And then yeah, but it doesn't matter because like then you just go through every spell in your deck. Yeah. All right, so let's get into the games.
Yeah. So that's the deck list. We'll get into the games. If you guys do enjoy the deck list, make sure to stick around.
Also, make your predictions in the comment who you think takes this whole thing.
What's your guys' opinion? I mean, I hate to say it, but I want to put my money on Goki, but I think I'm gonna go with Starry Night. I think that this deck is really cool, but I want them to win. But I think if I had to put money on it, I'd probably put it on Goki.
All right. So I actually
you know what
before
happens.
I know what happens, but like I did say this before in the chat, I would have either put my money on Goki or the Stromberg deck. Funny enough, right? Just because Stromberg was so represented, I made my predictions when there were still like 60 people.
Sure.
Right.
Luca.
But yeah, but with that said, only one Stromberg made it to top 8, so I would have went with Goki.
Sure. Okay. Luca, what's your thought?
Maybe probably Goki for me it's either Goki or Stromberg. I think like this tournament just feels like this top 8 I feel would just be like decided by who can just kind of like make them like most difficult to push forward. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not even like the biggest one, because like you have like Goki, which is set up like Power Load Ogre, which is like frustratingly difficult to beat. I noticed no one is siding Kaiju. I will say that.
Yeah, no one is siding.
And I think that is like going to play very well into like the Goki players' like favor.
Advantage, yeah.
And then like when you pair that with like the very like minimal amount of hand traps we're seeing, also like I don't really know how some decks can just beat a Power Load Ogre stuff. Like so.
Yeah, like
because the way you beat Power Load Ogres, you either like stop them from getting that far, or you just like Kaiju over it, and and like you just don't have either of those factors to have to worry about. So it's like
like I think the decks that could stop the Goki deck from doing it by now is really just Trickstar, because like it actually does play like all the hand traps, and like even if Power Load is unaffected, this does play the battle tricks to get enough damage in through them.
Yeah, but I feel like with Goki, it could be the player just loses to themselves. So that might be a case. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this and you're excited to see more, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. But that's all from us. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
Peace.